In episode 6, Ricky, EJ, Carlos, and Jet were awakened to let them know. It included both individual athletic contests and team sports. EJ, Ricky, Ashlyn, and Gina made up the blue squad, while Maddox, Courtney, Carlos, and Jet made up the yellow team. EJ finds it difficult to keep up his relationship with Gina, while Ricky gets closer to her. Gina asked EJ to go to the prom with her with Ricky's help, but he declined. Ashlyn was able to accept her feelings for Val as well. Thus, it will be intriguing to observe how the storyline in the forthcoming episode involving Ricky and Gina, as well as Ashlyn and Val, develops. The High School Musical the series episode from September 7 totally replicates the moment Bruce Bogtrotter stuffs his face with chocolate cake in Matilda. The first episode opens with Ricky devouring pizza in an effort to cross another item off his bucket list before turning 18. Being the tenacious child he is, Ricky finishes the job. He becomes delirious at the end of it all. He claims, "I can smell colors." EJ enters the room dressed to the nines for camp prom. Ricky and Jet discuss their enigmatic plan for tonight. Ricky is making an effort not to worry, but Carlos is interested in the Gina problem. He believes he has a long time before he needs to deal with it. Though, that might not be the case. Carlos has learned that a teaser with juicy footage will be unveiled next month. You are aware that Footage defines the word juicy. Ashlyn is contemplating her recent discovery in the meantime. She explains, "Last night, I discovered something new about myself that goes a little deeper than a rising sign." Ashlyn admits that, along with everything that implies, she does have feelings for Val. Gina is relieved that she won't be EJ's date to the camp prom because he has promised her the night's final dance. Jet makes a go big or go home decision and goes all out. He brings Madison to Shallow Lake. At first, Maddox is taken off guard. The camp prom is about tradition as much as dancing. According to EJ, the boys eventually throw ice water on themselves and upload a picture of themselves without shirts on the Shallow Lake memory wall. For Ricky and Carlos, it's a challenging pass. They question whether this is truly a tradition. Anything can become a tradition if you do it repeatedly, according to EJ. Like a slap? Ricky responds, then imitates a slap. Not amused, EJ, "Ricky, you've developed into a remarkably brave young man this summer." As EJ continues to read the script, camp prom starts. He intends to play the buzzkill by running lines with everyone at the dance. Ricky literally spits up his drink when Gina enters the room with Courtney and Ashlyn. Gina says, "Hello, boys." Ricky, who is both adorably adorable and blatantly devastating, clears his throat. He is asked about by Gina. Ricky wears his feelings about Gina on his face, and even EJ notices this. Ricky attempts a hasty rescue and claims that it's only the polyester in his clothing. "Does Richard need any air?" EJ asks. It's time for the well-known She Knows TikTok meme. Madison and Maddox reunite in the cabin as the dance begins. Maddox acknowledges that last summer she was overly attached and clingy. According to Madison, she let go a little too fast. Jet was pretty emotional on the phone, according to Madison, who believes he could use a friend. Ashlyn receives a pride flag pin from Carlos with joy. He greets her, "Welcome to the community." Carlos is being grilled by EJ about his lines as he brings up the custom of going without a shirt. Carlos is still on the fence and doesn't want to be coerced. Hazing is not practiced here. EJ says okay, whatever brings you joy. And then Seb appears. Seb and Carlos embrace once again and kiss tenderly. Seb is incredibly priceless. He has a grandpa-like appearance. He assumed that Carlos meant to have him dress as someone in their 70s when he said the theme was the 70s. EJ declines Gina's request to dance so that he can go over more prompts. Ricky and Gina are once more exchanging that expression. When EJ starts questioning Courtney, she stumbles. Her fear takes control. Since EJ won't budge, Gina doesn't think twice before asking Ricky to dance. EJ announces that Maddox is about to take the stage before Ricky has a chance. She addresses the throng and apologizes for pushing some of them away. She chooses to reach out to Jet by singing a song that cheered up her younger brother. They play the Camp Rock 2 song Wouldn't Change a Thing. Even Seb and Carlos participate. Maddox and Madison will be able to dance together at last. Gina is still anxiously waiting for her final dance with EJ. Ricky is already observing her as she searches the area for him. Despite his best efforts, she just seems upset that EJ let her down once more. She walks backstage to look for him. He missed the last dance, she informs him. He makes an effort to right his wrong, but Gina is finished. Gina says to EJ, "I'm starting to think we had two completely different summers. We had two completely different nights." She has come to understand that he has already had all of the experiences she had hoped to share with him. He hasn't been participating in the bucket list mission and missed a woman in the woods. EJ snaps that Ricky is involved in both of those situations. Gina clarifies, this is not about Ricky. EJ continues to not pay attention to Gina and answers, "I know there's history there." She explains, "I was attempting to build a future with you." He emphasizes that perhaps things will be different if the musical is successful. Gina says, "I guess the issue is that maybe isn't good enough for me right now. I may have only ever known that. I don't know, EJ, maybe I should leave solo as well. I entered the dance alone." She notes that they haven't really spent the entire summer together. She wants to jump forward if that's a sign of things to come. Gina does not want to be ignored any longer. "EJ, I can't continue to be a maybe. Nor today, not tomorrow," she adds. While EJ is a decent guy, it's over. EJ and Gina part ways. She responds, "Can it really be over if it never really had a chance to begin?" In all seriousness, Sophia Wiley is a force to be feared. Seb interrupts the split because he has just learned that EJ's real name is Elton John. Gina runs through the dance while sobbing after leaving EJ. Gina is seen by Ricky walking to the coat closet while visibly upset. As he always does, he goes to see how she is. Ricky mentions that he needs to tell Gina something. He replies it can wait after noticing the tears in her eyes. She leans backward. Both of them stoop to pick up. They continue to look that way there. The look of Rena. Ricky is cut off before he can respond as Gina leaves. Back at her cabin, Courtney is humming a prayer. Ashlyn joins her at the table and inquires as to whether anything is wrong. Concerned about the opening night is Courtney. She questions whether Ashlyn ought to replace her. "I'm okay. Courtney is better," Ashlyn informs her. Inside enter Maddox and Gina. Gina announces to the group, "I think I just broke up with EJ. Keep her from starting. Can I borrow your prayer?" Ashlyn inquires of Courtney after noticing that everyone seems to be in a peculiar place. They all gather to sing together. It's not just Courtney. She has never been. She resolves to conquer her fear and climb the climbing wall after being inspired by her own bravery and the strength of her friends. EJ is discovered by Ricky in their cabin. They both describe their nights as confusing. Carlos makes the decision to face his phobia and participate in the shirtless ice bucket ritual. Together, Carlos, Ricky, EJ, and Jet carry it out. Courtney succeeds in reaching the top of the climbing wall during this process. She is supported by Gina, Maddox, and Ashlyn. Ashlyn informs Maddox, "You know you're one of us now," which is all Maddox had been hoping to hear. Ricky inspires Carlos to participate in the shirtless ritual, earning him the title of hero. Ricky only needed to hear the word hero to cross another things off his bucket list. Ricky stumbles upon Gina as she makes her way alone back to her cabin. "What did you intend to tell me earlier, exactly?" Gina asks. Ricky starts out by describing what he said to Carlos that Channing recorded on video. Ricky is about to confess when EJ enters the room. Ricky asks as to whether there is something going on tonight when EJ doesn't approach them. Gina says, "We kind of split up tonight." Ricky is speechless. Gina won't let Ricky off the hook, but he doesn't think the time is appropriate to come clean. Gina is aware that Ricky is lying to her. She obviously doesn't want to have high expectations for Ricky. But let's face it, Gina has always been with Ricky. Maddox and EJ eventually cross paths, and she spends the night with Madison. If any of the new girls caught her attention this summer, EJ asks. EJ is prepared to respond when Ashlyn passes by. The underlying purpose for this late-night gathering, however, is not that. Maddox says she received a tip that Channing would go full reality show and stir up all kinds of mischief to ensure that the show's first night would be a complete disaster. The evening of EJ just got a lot worse.